All right, so in this video, I'm going to be going over all of the flows you need to be setting up for your SaaS company, exactly how they play into the revenue formula and the variables they increase in the revenue formula, and how you can set them up, the structure, the triggers, and everything else. So let's get straight into it. So initially, first of all, we have the core flow, the most important one being the welcome flow. So this is for people who sign up for your free trial or the free plan. And the goal here is simply to convert them onto being paid customers. The way we do that is, first of all, we identify the aha moment. And the best way to describe that moment would be, so for people who reach this moment or complete this action, then a large percentage of these people then convert onto your paid plan, and we really try and identify exactly what that moment is for a free trial user, and then we kind of focus everything else around that moment. So let's say we identify that a certain action can be identified as the aha moment. Well, we then focus on the exact steps prior that's needed for someone to reach that moment. So let's say there's step 1, 2, 3, and 4, and then someone reaches the aha moment. Then that's what we frame the whole welcome series around. So as you can see, we've set that up. So we have an email flow completely designed to helping them perform the first action, and then the second action, and then the third action. So we're pretty much walking them through performing each specific action we need them to. And then once they've gone ahead and performed all three of these actions, then at this point we know that they're primed to then convert onto the paid plan. Because if we go ahead and try to sell them onto a paid plan before they've even used the platform, before they've even reached the aha moment, then the chances are they're not going to convert. They don't realize the value of your SaaS, the value of your platform, and they're not prepared to pay for it straight away. So once they've gone through and taken these first few actions, then they can go through more of a hard sell sequence where we go ahead and ask for the upgrade, ask for the purchase, use social proof, use urgency and scarcity to then convert them to being a paying customer using direct response copy. We then have the onboarding flows. So simply, I've kind of set up 4 different ones here, but this would obviously be specific to how many plans you have. So we have the onboarding flows specific to each plan because, of course, every single person who signs up for a different plan has different pain points, different features, different goals they want to reach, maybe different businesses they have. So we really want to figure out the ideal customer profile for each of the plans and craft the onboarding flow to speak to that person and help that person have a great post-purchase experience as soon as they purchase their plan. Of course, adding on to all of these flows, you have the no login flows. So if someone doesn't log in, for example, this could be 5 days, but obviously it depends on your SaaS. It could be 7 days, 10 days, 14 days. With no login being one of the biggest indicators of churn, you want to go ahead and try and get them reactivated onto the platform via the no login flow. So that's kind of the goal there. You have the gamification flow. So this, I've used an example of a cold email SaaS platform here. The gamification aspect might be how many meetings they booked. So as the user goes and hits more milestones, so first milestone, second, third, fourth, fifth, sixth, they get specific email flows designed for each milestone, congratulating them on hitting it, saying they're in top X% of the platform's users now, giving away a specific roadmap to hitting the next milestone. So when someone books 100 meetings, we can say, as a very basic overview, congratulations on hitting 100 meetings. We're looking forward to you hitting 500. Here's some extra tips. Here's some extra tricks. Here's a roadmap we use to do this for our own company. Hopefully, it's helpful to you. If you need any help, then feel free to reach out. And pretty much what this does is it drastically increases retention in the way that someone always has a next goal to hit, a next level to reach in a way. And this is the exact same psychology used by video games and leveling up in that sense to kind of get people hooked to the video game. Obviously, in this case, it is a bit different because someone is solving a very specific pain point by using your SaaS, and we use this in the milestones. Um, and then pretty much we want to get someone hooked to using your SaaS. That's what the gamification flow is for. You have the abandoned payment and payment decline flow, and the difference here is abandoned payment is when someone goes through to the last step of the payment process, but then doesn't actually go ahead and pay. So for these people, the main thing is that they probably have a price objection. So we need to address this in the abandoned payment flow and try and get them to convert that way. The payment decline flow is more of a logistical issue where the bank stops the payment going through, or they don't have enough money in their bank account, or something along those lines. So for these people, we really want to just try and fix the logistical issue and just simply let them know that their payment hasn't gone through, and just keep following up till they update their payment details, and then they can carry on with their plan. We obviously have the retention referral flow. So this is for people who have been using your SaaS platform for 30 days, 60 days, 90 days. We can kind of choose any of those triggers. And for those people, we send them a specific offer for referring other people. And the way we like to set this up to make it kind of to get as many referrals as possible, is to have a incentive for the referrer and the referee for the next month, let's say, and this incentivizes people not only themselves to tell other people to use your platform, but the person who's being told to say, oh, okay, I've got an incentive as well to sign up, and then they sign up, and as soon as they start using the SaaS, they get hooked, they realize its value, and then obviously they stay lifelong customers. That's the goal. We have the cancellation flow, sent to people who cancel their plan and they're pretty much about to churn. And in this flow, we want to try and one, prevent churn if possible. But if they do go ahead and churn, we want to get some qualitative feedback from these people. And then using that feedback, once we have a kind of set of hundreds, thousands of people who have churned in the past, we can use that data to improve marketing, angles, offers, the product itself. And we can, obviously, that data is incredibly valuable because we know the specific reason that someone left, and we want to try and prevent that from being a reason for another customer in the future. We have the feature limitation flow. So if you have multiple plans with different limits on features, different features themselves, when someone reaches a limit on a lower price plan, we want to instantly send them emails trying to get them to upgrade to the higher price plan with more limit on that specific feature. For example, with the cold email SaaS again, if someone is using your platform and they send 10,000 emails in a month, for example, and that's the limit on their plan, then the chances are that they're using your platform, they're getting great results, and they're actually interested in upgrading. So we just want to give them that little push to then upgrade to a higher plan, give them a quantifiable ROI benefit of upgrading, and also if they're extremely reluctant to upgrade, then perhaps offer some sort of incentive for the first month of upgrading onto the new plan. And then the final two, we have the customer win back flow. Simply put, when someone churns, 60 days later, 90 days later, you want to hit them back up and try and get them to pretty much re-sign up even onto the lowest plan, and just try and win the customer back. This is extremely prevalent and important for um, companies where people might use the platform, get what they need, and then leave. So, for example, a lead scraping platform. Someone might use the platform for 2 to 3 months, get all the leads they need, and then they might leave. And then they might need leads again in 2 to 3 months' time. So, if you can kind of identify that time period where people often come back, then you can set that up as a trigger for the customer win back flow. And a large percentage of people who churn, you can actually win them back onto those 2 to 3 month cycles where they might use it for 2 to 3 months, churn for 2 months, and then come back for 2 to 3 months. Obviously, it's a very specific use case for that, but it really just depends on the SaaS. But I think it's extremely effective flow in trying to win back customers to prevent that left before. We obviously have the sunset on engaged flow finally as well, which is just cleaning the list of people who are non-buyers and who aren't opening emails, engaging in emails. And pretty much we just want to keep the email list clean for sending campaigns to these users. So with the sunset on engaged flow, we can do that in an automated fashion. Now, quickly going over the roles of the actual flows themselves, over just kind of what they are, we I can quickly go over the revenue formula. So pretty much any SaaS company in the world, they want to go from, obviously I'm generalizing a bit here, but they really kind of are focused on going from a certain MRR value, especially if they're not enterprise huge companies, they're focused on going from a certain MRR value where they're at to going and reaching a higher monthly recurring revenue value. And the only way of doing that is via increasing the number of customers, the retention of existing customers, or the average revenue per user, or AOV, or what the user pays each month. So we have to increase one, two, or all three of those variables to then increase the total revenue. And that's exactly how we should be looking at the flows as well. We should be looking at which of these variables are they hitting, so then you can obviously iterate and improve the flows. So for number of customers, we have the welcome flow, abandoned payment flow, payment declined, retention referral flow, and customer win-back flow. For increasing retention, we have the onboarding flows, no login flow, gamification flow, cancellation flow, and feature limitation flow. And for the average revenue per user, or the average MRR per user, we have the welcome flow, no action flow, feature limitation flow, and onboarding flows all here again. So once we understand what these flows are designed to do and the specific metric they're designed to increase, we can then look at the data for the flows. So from the welcome flow, how many people are then converting to actual users? How many people are from the welcome flow are converting onto the lowest plan, the middle plan, and the highest price plan? And then from looking at this data, then you can make the correct iterations, the split tests, and optimize it for the outcome. So why this is so valuable is we really have identified the outcome of the flow. For example, the outcome of the gamification flow is that the retention increases. So, although this is slightly more difficult to do, you can kind of see how effective the gamification flow is by how many people are actually using the new feature they get exclusive to reaching that milestone, how many people click onto the info product they get and are using it, how many people are replying positively to that email saying, wow, this is actually a pretty cool feature that other SaaS companies didn't have. And by kind of looking at these different metrics, you can evaluate how effective the flow is at doing its job, and then obviously iterate from there to improve its effectiveness. And also, quickly, there are some other factors not relating to flows to increase the number of customers, the retention of these customers, and the average revenue per user of the customers. And obviously, this includes things such as campaigns. So, for increasing number of customers, we have creating and sending direct response emails to non-buyers to convert them into buyers, creating free resources to use as lead magnets, creating and implementing NPS surveys across the customer journey. Um, for increasing retention, we have creating and sending campaigns to existing users to nurture them and provide value, creating and implementing NPS surveys again, because obviously NPS surveys give a whole host of data which can be used to improve all three of these different factors. And for here, we have creating and sending campaigns to nurture current users again can increase the to upsell them onto higher plans, and NPS surveys, like I mentioned. And some factors which you should be doing on a daily basis, on a weekly basis, is daily split testing of preview text, subject lines, CTAs, offers, and number of emails in each flow. And doing this really improves all three of these variables simultaneously, as you're kind of going to be doing this for each of the flows, not specific ones only. We have improving email deliverability by making sure your account is set up properly, having a dedicated sending domain, and also for our clients, we implement a deliverability code at the bottom of each email. And what this does is try and make sure they land in the primary tab, and then obviously set up of things such as Google Analytics and UTM trackings, depending on the email service provider you're using, so you can track actual email revenue, conversions from emails, and obviously iterate based off that. But hopefully, this gave you a better idea of all of the email flows, how to implement them for your SaaS company. We obviously have some information on the revenue formula, how they relate to the revenue formula, the extra kind of information on the campaigns you should be sending, split tests you should be doing. And if you are interested in seeing if we could help implement this for your SaaS company, then feel free to just send me a DM on Twitter. If you're watching this on Twitter, then obviously you can just click onto my profile. If you're watching this on YouTube, then I'll leave my account link in the description. So feel free to reach out to me there. Thanks.